To your career? To both of us. Really, Tom, you ought to marry. She turned away and sat on the edge of the bed. He raised his eyebrows. Do you have someone in mind? Any of the girls who are always making sheep's eyes at you will do. You'd better marry someone soon, if you want to quell the cathedral gossip. What gossip? Oh, I'm sure you've heard it. Julia altered her tone, sounding like a querulous old woman. How strange that a handsome man like Canon Cross, established in his profession and already in his mid-30s, seems to show no interest in marriage. It doesn't help that most clergymen look like horses. People actually say that? Most clergymen look like horses? No, that was my contribution. I don't care what people say. She laughed bitterly. If you truly believe that, you don't know yourself. People of your class can act on their whims and avoid serious consequences. I don't have that luxury. Oh, Tom, spare me the sermon about the dissipation and corruption of the upper classes. It seems to me you act on your whims often enough, and you seem to have no trouble avoiding the consequences. She had gone too far. It's over, Julia, he said, turning away. Very well, but don't expect me to take you back if you change your mind. He walked away without another word, picking up his coat on the way out. The hotel room door closed behind him with a decisive thud. My wife will be leaving later this morning, he told the hotel clerk in a brisk, authoritative tone when he stopped at the counter to pay the bill. Yes, Mr. Harlow. The young, narrow-faced man had a respectful manner, but there was something a little too keen about his eyes. Being called Mr. Harlow startled Tom, although it shouldn't have. It was a false name he had used before. Once inside the hansom cab that took him to the cathedral, he mentally rehearsed the name most people knew him by. Thomas Cross. Although it hadn't happened before, he was worried he would revert to Harlow by mistake. He was grateful for the long ride in which to sort out his thoughts, alternating between berating himself for his stupidity in meeting Julia at a hotel and blaming her for seducing him months ago. In any case, he needed to free himself from this entanglement in order to regain some self-respect. As gratifying as it was, both mentally and physically, to be with her, the risk of people finding out about their relationship was too great. Tired of listening to his spinning brain, Tom called to the cab driver to stop, deciding to walk the rest of the way to the cathedral. It was only autumn, but the air whispered icy warnings of winter. He pulled his coat collar closer around his neck, feeling his lungs expand with relief now that he was out of the stuffy confines of the cab. He arrived at the cathedral an hour later, with a few minutes to spare before his meeting, and he paused at the baptismal font, noticing that the hairline crack at the base of the marble structure still hadn't been repaired. As he strode down the aisle to his office, he glanced up at the roof trusses. He couldn't see where they were rotting, but he knew only too well what repairs were needed and how much they would cost. The building was an aging courtesan whose beauty was more trouble and expense than its maintenance was worth. He knew others came to the cathedral to find God, but he'd never done so. He found God in people, not buildings. His meeting that morning was with a parishioner, Cedric Jenkins, a bereaved husband whose wife had died of puerperal fever 3 months earlier. As the two men sat in Tom's office, Mr. Jenkins alternately raged against God and begged Tom for words of comfort. Tom let him talk as long as he wanted to, saying little at first. "Maria was everything to me," Mr. Jenkins declared. "We were married only 5 years, but I've been in love with her almost all my life. Her family and mine were neighbours, so we knew each other as children. When she told me she loved me..."